Hey everybody, welcome to Lisa's Art Room. Today we're going to be working on my Wild and Muted junk journal. We're going to be making the tassel for it. So y'all come in and say hi, let me know you're here. We are currently live on Facebook if you see the little red button at the top left. If not, you're catching a replay either here or over on YouTube. I'm going to get you guys pulled up so I can see chat, and then we'll check the sound and everything. Hey Dawn, thanks for letting me know the sound is good. All right, so we're going to do a little tassel for this today. So that's the plan, and I'm going to go ahead. We got a sound check, so you got a couple of people on here. We're going to go ahead and pull the camera up top so we can get started. All right, 1 second. Okay. All right. So this one took a while. I don't know why. It's not really any bigger than any of my others, but for some reason it did take a while. But it is definitely full now. So 3 signatures are quite full. I am going to add a little tassel to it, and then we'll sew it in next week. Well, not next week, but Friday, I think. So I found some different ribbons and stuff that I thought would match okay. Got some this green and beige ribbons. These are this Ridley. Comes in, this one was a 3-pack. They're always in 3-packs, the ones I've seen anyway. And has these colors. I got them off of Amazon. And then just some lace, same kind of lace for the tie, and then also this one. This is just a Dollar Tree lace. And then I've got a little bit of string. This is just some twine. I don't know where it's from. Probably Dollar Tree or something. And I also added a little bit of waxed thread. Okay, and I've just gathered them together. They're not stuck together or nothing. And then I wanted it long enough so that it will go, you know, somewhere close to the bottom, and then I'll trim it when I'm done. So that's the start, but first we've got to put our eyelet in. I haven't done that yet. Sometimes I already have that done. Today I do not, so we're going to put the eyelet in. And for that, you just need to find the center. Sometimes it's real obvious because I will have already marked it from making the cover, but I did not. And all I do is just measure, and you can go either, for this particular, that each side is 6 inches. So you can just, you know, go 6 inches and make a mark, which is there, you can't see it. And then go from the other side 6 inches and make a mark, and then kind of find the middle, because it rarely matches, because what happens is the fringe is wider. This is where our cover was originally. So the fringe is never even. Like, you can kind of tell that it's like, it's much narrower here than it is up here. So it ends up being kind of difficult to find the center later, but you just kind of, the best way to do is just kind of go from your edge until you get the 6 inches, and then find the center of that. And that's what I did, and that's what this mark is. And then I've got one down here. So that's my center, and I just need to put a little eyelet up here. I usually try to get it as close as the top as I can while grabbing a little bit of that packaging. And find my crocodile. And the eyelet I am using is, what size is it? I already pulled it out. It's the larger size. I don't know what it is, 1/8 or something. What does it say on here? Yeah. It is actually 3/16. So we need to put our little hole at 3/16. This does have like a little measuring thing where you can kind of pull this little guide, but I usually just keep it all the way back so it's out of my way because I rarely use it. So just make sure that's out of my way. And then I'm just gonna go ahead and cut this hole. Like I said, try to get as close as I can to the top, but not so close that it's going to fall out. So about there. And that's just so I don't end up with the signatures, you know, being in the way of it too much. And then I want the eyelet on the outside. And then for this, I think it's on the right setting. It is, let's see if I can read it. A on the bottom and 2 on the top. So I think that's the right one. We're going to try it. And you want to put the prong in through the front. So put the prong in there and just give it a squeeze. Hopefully it'll stay in there. You got to make sure you've got it all the way through with fabric. Sometimes it doesn't quite get all the way through. So just easy as that. And we have an eyelet for our charm. You can erase all the other. I'm going to leave these marks because when I put my signatures in, I'm still going to need these marks, so I'm just going to leave them for now because they will come in handy. They're on there with a chalk pencil. I don't know if I can still see this one. Yeah, that one's already rubbed off, so can't see it anymore. I could go ahead and just measure it out real quick so I have it. It ended up being like a little more than 2 inches for some reason. I don't know why. I'll probably come into 2 inches though, because I think I would rather have the spine exactly 2 inches. So I'm just going to do it from the center. So I'm just going to change these marks up just a little bit. Make them bigger. That way when I get ready to sew in the signatures, they'll be there and ready. All right, so there's that. And then I'm going to try to see what else I can put on this. So I made some charms while I was gone. And what I did is I cut out some of the little digitals that I had from a couple of the sets. Some of the words. This is memories on one side, dreams on the other side, imagination, beautiful. A couple little leaves. And just a circle one. And a little rose. Now, I told you that I only had silver charms the other day, which was an issue in my mind. I didn't want silver. And I didn't really want to go out and buy more. So what I did is I took my silver charms. Let me find one that I can play with. We'll do another butterfly. And I used this foundry wax on it. This one happens to be statue. There's also a gold one. I don't have that one. So I just used it. It's close enough. At least it's not silver. I'm trying to think what I'm doing. And this is a heat thing, so you have to have a heat tool to put it on there with. These were made by just gluing 2 pieces of the image, and I had to pick images that were similar front and back, which was a little bit challenging with this particular batch, but I did find some. I could have just printed it out and flipped it on the second print, but I didn't really want to print more. But all I did is I took 2 cutouts. Let's see if I can just kind of explain real quick. Most of you probably know. Let's see if I can find something left. Is there anything left in here I can show you with? It's kind of big. No, I don't have to. I have some butterflies, but I'm not going to fussy cut it right now. Anyway, all it is I took 2 images. So say these were 2 the same. I glued them together first, okay? And then I trimmed around them, made sure they matched. And then I inked the edges just for good measure. And I do have a video on me doing this. It's just, I'd have to look it up and figure out where it is, but I do have one. And I can try to link it in my YouTube when I post this on YouTube. But anyway, so once they were glued together, okay, then I took them and I used the glossy accents on them. Let's see if I can find it. Where's it at? Here's one. Okay, so this glossy accents. It's a Ranger thing, and it's basically like a resin that doesn't have to be cured. That's the best way to describe it. It's kind of like dimensional, what's that called? Dimensional magic? Something like that. I don't remember now. And I have like just a leftover tray from Candy. This is my tray that I use when I'm putting glossy accents on because it works really well. And all I do is I take the little whatever I've glued together and I take a pen and I stick it through the hole. I've got the little bitty hole in here made with my tiny punch. You can also use the crocodile size one, that's fine. And then I just stick it on here and I apply my glossy accents. And they come out pretty nice. They're nice and firm, and they're shiny and they look pretty and all that. Sometimes they have air bubbles, but usually you get most of them out. But you could also do it with resin, but I don't do resin. I don't know. It's just one of those things where I feel like the dangers of it aren't worth it. But anyway, so that's how I did that. Like I said, I'll try to link the videos. But the Founder Wax one, I've never done a video on it, so I'm going to just show you. But so I took my silver charms and I made some basically gold charms. So I did several. I don't know how many we'll use, but I went ahead and just did several. And that's what they look like. Okay, and it's on there. You cannot get it off unless you like sand it off or something. It's on there permanently once it's on there. All right, so all you do is just take a paintbrush, and I'll just show you real quick. I've got my heat tool here somewhere in the drawer probably, and I need like a silicone mat or something. I keep several of these. Silicone mat. And plug her in. Alright. So, heat tool. This cord it's a very thick cord. It wants to pull back off my desk. And then you can use just a regular paintbrush. Usually a flat one works best. Not too, you don't want it to be too firm. Softer works better. Try to find one. So something like this, yeah, it has a little bit of give. It can wash out with alcohol, so you can wash it out of your brush. I don't know where the brush is I used the other day. It's floating around here somewhere, but it doesn't really matter. Then you just take, I usually use my mat, like my silicone, my I don't know, what is it called, the little Tim Holtz mat, or you could just use a piece of silicone mat. I can't find anything. It's like everything's moved right now. Anyway, you'll get the idea. So you just shake this up. It has a little ball in it, so give it a little shake till the ball moves freely. It's very easy to use. You can use it on paper, you can use it on wood, plastic, those little resin figures from Tim Holtz. You can use it on those. It's actually a pretty cool little tool. But anyway, just take a little bit out. It does not take much. I think that's probably plenty. And just zoom in a little bit. Then you just brush it. Now, I like to hold it with my self-closing, locking tweezers, whatever they're called. And what I do is I usually just go ahead and paint the little holder. You're not going to hit all of it at once. It's kind of hard to do, but if you have a surface where you can kind of just lay it on the surface and do it, that's probably best. But I don't usually trust that my surface won't go through to my self-healing mat, and I don't want to mess it up. So I usually just try to hold it. It doesn't have to be super thick. You can do both sides at once. It doesn't dry so fast that you can't. I didn't get quite enough, almost. And you can layer more than one coat. Once you just heat it, let that cool, and then do another coat, but I don't usually need to. Just brush it on there. Thinner is usually a little better, and you don't lose all the detail. The ones I did yesterday, I kind of made them a little bit thick, but it's not a big deal. They're still pretty. So there's that. I'll clean this out later. And I'm going to try to do this on camera. Takes a minute for this gun to heat up. Sometimes you can see it change, and sometimes you really can't. Sometimes I'll just do it until it starts bubbling a little. You'll know if it didn't work because when it cools and you touch it, it'll be like powder and just come right off. So then you need to do it some more. I think it's on there. I can't tell if this thing's hot or not. Does it feel hot? Not really. Let's see. It's hot. So maybe it worked. But anyway, sorry, I was off camera. Ooh, shiny. But that's how that works. It's very shiny. And then just put it somewhere to cool. Let it cool before you go handling it, because you will burn yourself. Usually I just set it on a silicone mat or something. Anyway, so that's how you do those. They're not difficult to do. They're pretty easy to do. The foundry wax, I think I got mine off of Amazon. I might have got it at scrapbook.com. It's hard to say. I'm not 100% sure. So, I made a bunch of those. So, really cute. So, I've got some charms now, because I did not have charms. So I was like, I need charms. So I just made some. All right, so I also had a few pony beads. I don't know if I'll use them or not. And then I had a few of these little tiny beads, which sometimes I'll use. I don't think I'm going to use the little jump rings on these. I think I'm just going to tie just straight to them. You can use jump rings if you want. I've also got these wooden ones, but I think they might be too dark. So I wanted to keep this light. I might use a few of these smaller wooden ones. They're not super dark if I can get them out of there. Let me just use my, I don't want those tweezers, just my other tweezers. No, they're not where they're supposed to be. Where are you at, tweezers? There you are. Let's see. A few of these, which I might use. I like them because sometimes when you're trying to stop, you know, like a larger thing coming through, they work real good for that, but they're a little dark, so I don't know if I'll use them or not. We'll throw them out here. Just a few. So that's my, you know, little stash we're going to work with. So I'm trying to use what I have. And then I should have some more clasps, hopefully. If I need jump rings, I have plenty of jump rings. I'm going to use one of these. These are my go-to favorites for doing charms with. They usually come in like a silver and a gold. I can see the difference in the color or not. Sometimes it doesn't come through on the camera. Yeah, it's hard to see in this light. But they are different. One's kind of antique gold looking. And like I said, I don't think I need the jump. I might need one large jump ring for the hooking it to the spine. So we'll do one large jump ring. I think that's all I'm going to need. I haven't done a charm in a while. Let's see. All right, so I like to use this little chain to make a loop, and that's what all my ribbons go through. That's just how I do it. There's so many different ways you can do these. I don't know. It works for me, so I just keep doing it. But let's see if I can figure out which side of this opens. If I can squeeze it. My weak hand. That's the only thing I don't like about these is they're so stiff when you first start messing with them. They're very hard to open. All right, so there's that. I'm probably going to want to go ahead and hook this onto there. So let me second set somewhere here. I can find them. Okay. So, let's see if I can find the little opening. My eyesight is not what it used to be. Where is it at? There it is. All right, so you want to just twist. You never pull apart your jump rings. Always twist them. So you get on one side and the other, and then you just twist it a little bit, okay? You don't want to pull them apart because they never go back together right. They don't match. And then I'm just going to hook this to this, and I just thread it through. You can do it after, but I always have a hard time doing it that way, so I just go ahead and thread it through ahead of time, and then twist it back into place. Okay, and then I've got a little like loop thingy. Okay, let's just move these over here. And what I like to do is glue these together to start with. Let's see where I can put all this. I'm going to stick it up here. I'm probably out of camera. Let's see, I'll try to move everything down just a little bit. Trying to keep somewhat zoomed in, but not crazy. All right, so I like to find the center of the ribbon. Sometimes the easiest way to do that is just to tape it off. It just makes life a little easier when I'm sticking it all together. So I'm just going to put a tape on each side of my ends. You don't have to be perfect, but you know, kind of, sort of, the center. And then I'm going to just fold this in half so I can see where about half is. All my strings are falling out. That's fine. I only did this to kind of get a feel for how much I needed. So this is about my center. I'm just going to put that there. And then, so I have this laid out in the order which I thought I might do. I like to have a big piece on the top because I can close it better. So I want this on the top. So I'm just going to flip these over. And then I've got this kind of yarny looking thing. I don't know if I'll put anything on it, but I'm just going to leave that there. And then I think I'll do this lace. And then maybe this lace. And then a couple of these wax strings because I like to tie the beads to those. And then I'm just going to put them both there because I can glue to that piece, I think, better. And then we'll do this lace and then green on the top. Oh, that's not green on the top. I want green on the top. Oh, that was the other way around. That's why. So this is on the bottom. So then green and then this. All right. I could do the same color on top and bottom, the green, but it doesn't really matter. So I'm just going to leave it like this. So then I start gluing them together. And the only reason for that is it just makes life easier for me getting them in the thing. You can use Fabri-Tac, some sort of a, sticky fabric glue. I'm going to try the Fabri-Tac. Sometimes I was debating on using that Crafter's Ultimate Glue, but I don't know if it works on fabric. It says metal, plastic, glass, and more. It does say fabric, so it does work on fabric. It's a little stickier, but I don't know that it really dries any faster. So we'll just go with this, although I need more because it's getting harder to squeeze. It gets to the point where it's, with the bottle, it gets too thick and it takes an hour for your bubble to rise up so you can squeeze it. And that's kind of annoying. So I just put a little, like I said, this is just a temporary hold. And just stick that there, tap. I had a thing to keep this upside down, but I don't know what happened to it. I don't know where I put it. It leaks when I do it, so I kind of was like, I don't know if that's really working, so I kind of got rid of it. But then sometimes I want it. It's like, you can't win. I'm just going to lay it on the side so it doesn't come completely out. And then just tack that there. Like I said, I don't need it to be a lot, just enough. And then I'm going to do these little strings. A little bit of this one. Lace. Debating on using that yarn one. I don't know. I guess I will. I know it's going to fray a lot, but that's okay. It gives it a little more bulk. And then the green one. hopefully this is really thin. The Fabri-Tech's probably going to show through, but hopefully it doesn't look awful. All right, so there's that. And then you can give it a minute to dry, but I'm not gonna. So then what I have to do is feed this through my hole in my charm. Where'd it go? Oh, it's right in front of you. If you don't want to try to feed it, like I said, you can put it on after, but I always seem to feel like that's harder for some reason. You can tell if it's matching. It feels like it's a little bit off. There, that's better. All right, so I'm going to try to feed it through. The bulkier it is, the harder it is to do this, but I don't think this is so bulky I won't be able to do it. You know what might work? Just thinking if I could put my tweezers in here. Get a grip of that. If I can grip everything. Ooh, that's actually really handy. There you go. Okay. So then once I get on there, make sure I'm in the center, which should be where your glue is. And just fold it over. And then I'm going to use one of those wax. Try and get it centered. About there. One of these little wax threads. Could just use them both, so it goes both directions. I'm just gonna wrap that around. For my tie. Go 3 times on that one. And then which way do I want to go? I want to go this way. I'll go 3 times on this one. Tie this off. Helps if you actually go through the hole. Yeah, I'm debating where I want this to come out. I think I might have it come out on this side because I can kind of fit it back in there better. So put that like that. And like that. Okay. So then we've got our little bundle. And then you just start putting stuff on your thinner threads. And you can kind of play with, you know, how they seat in there a little bit. And then these, sometimes the holes close up a little bit on you. If they do, just use a pokey tool. I've got one floating around here somewhere. If I can find it. Let's see. Where are you? There you are. Just make sure you can see that hole. And then the easiest way to thread these is, I keep all of my wire from things like ribbon. Like if you have a wired ribbon and you don't want it wired and you've pulled the wires out, they work really good for using as threading wire. They also work good for clearing holes in bottles and such. So I try to keep them. So this is just a stack of those. You can use like a needle threader, but I find they break all the time, and that just annoys me. So just take a little piece of it, fold it in half, and then what was I doing? I have to remember what I'm doing. put it through your item that needs threaded. Hopefully the hole's big enough for this wire. That's why I like this wire, because it's tiny. Usually it's big enough. I might have to make it a little bit bigger. If I need to make it bigger, which I might have to. That's pretty small. So I should have used the crocodile one. I think the hole punch, I don't know what size this is, but it's tiny. It's definitely tiny. So I'm just going to repunch these with the crocodile one. There's a small one and a big one. And the small one is a good size. And you can punch through this glossy accent stuff if you can find the hole. It's very hard to see, but I think I can do it. Okay, now it's a really big hole. It's like either too small or too big. So anyway, go through, open it back up, because I closed it too much now. And then you grab your thread, whatever that might be. We'll go ahead and put this on that thicker white one, since I made that hole so big. I might try repunching some of those others and see if the small one's big enough, because this is like almost too big. Anyway, so you just pull them through, and you just tie them wherever you want them to hang. The only thing you do want to make sure is that you don't go too long, because usually this drops a little with this. So where's my cover? We do need to check our height real quick. Where's my big tweezers? So I need my big jump ring. I got these from Hobby Lobby. I like to get my tools, or what do you call this stuff? I don't know, jewelry findings? I think they're called findings. From Hobby Lobby when they're on sale. I always wait for the sale and then I buy what I need. So that's where I got these. I'm just going to stick this on here. Oops. Well, we're going to try to stick it on there if we can hold on to it. Get it in there. Oh my goodness. That's just me. Alright, just get it on there, and then we got to close it back up. Do I need to close it before I put that? Yeah, I need to close it now. This is tricky. It's got to go on each side of the journal somehow. I can't see it with the fuzz. It's too fuzzy. Alright, there's one side. I can do this. I'm going to go from the top. There we go. Okay. Make sure she's closed. Almost. It's close. I can probably do it with my hands. Almost. It's not cooperating. Can't see if I'm close enough. There. Okay. So once that's on there, you can kind of hook this on and see where you're going to dangle, because you don't want to tie anything so long that it's going to hang off, because you're going to chop this off. So always check that so you know how long you can go. So what I'll go ahead and do is I'll just cut this one, because I'm not going to put anything else on that, I don't think. And I'll just cut this one about where I want. So I know that's kind of going to be my guide now for length. So we'll do that, but I don't want it on here because it's too hard to work with. All right. Let's see if we can make these holes big enough in these charms. I'm going to try to just repunch them with the small one first and see if I can get it to be big enough, because it's like that one looks full size. Sometimes none of the stuff goes in there, but sometimes it does close up a little bit. If I can hit the hole. There. Alright. And this one look okay? That one looks closed up. I really don't want to use the bigger one unless I absolutely have to. That one looks pretty open. That one's not too bad. And that one's not too bad. I think that one was just really closed. All right, so let's try that. So we've got these little things. Let's see. We'll tie a little. I'm going to try to tie one of these on there. I don't know if it'll work or not. They're very small. Does it screw? Oh, it says screw top. Okay. I'm just going to pull a couple of these out. Where'd my top go? Girl. You're losing things already. All right, let's try that again. Just grab the wire. And this bead, is it big enough to go through there? Maybe. All right, so there's that. We're going to use this. I always close it up and then I can't get it into it. There may be a tool you can buy that is similar. I don't know. But I just I repurpose stuff. Y'all know me. I like to repurpose stuff. So there we go. We got a bead through. So those will go through there. And I'm just going to tie one kind of near the top. One knot should do it. Oops. Did you see that? Totally closed it where I didn't want it to close. You got to hold your finger on there. All right, somewhere about there. Let's see if that's big enough. Yeah, that should work. I don't think it's going to move. So we'll put a bead there, and then we'll put a little charm dangle. Do this little butterfly. And we're just going to hold this one. Maybe a little bit below that knot. So there's some separation. Maybe about there. Where's my guide? There he is. Yeah, we're good. And maybe one of these beads. If I can hold on to it. I have technically 4 of these. This bead is not hollow. I feel like there's something in there. There you go. Okay. I'm trying to avoid putting tape or anything on this. Oops. I'm just throwing it around. And let's see, guide. So about there, we'll go about here. That should be good. And I'll double knot this one. I didn't double knot the butterfly because I'm not real concerned about it moving, but the bottom one I'll double knot. Okay, and then once you're sure that's all you're putting on that one, you can go ahead and trim it. Just a little bit. All right, so the other one, let's do, I like the little pony bead at the top. We probably just feed this through. Yeah, I can. I don't have to use the wire. So the nice thing about wax thread is it stays relatively stiff. All right, I'm gonna drop this one a little bit lower, just for fun. Just a bit lower. Maybe about there. And then let's do one of these little leaves. Yeah, I didn't even need the wire. Because this is so small. If I'm using this, I have to have the wire, but you can also just stick tape on it sometimes. That works. There's our leaf, and then maybe another bead or something. maybe one of the smaller ones. I'm going to use one of these little small charms. This is a little bee. It's cute. Just throw that on there. Make sure I'm not too long. So about here. About there. And I'll double knot it since it's the bottom. If you hear my child in there screaming, she's playing her game online with her friends. They're being attacked by some sort of monster, so she keeps screaming. All right, next. Let's see. Maybe I'll switch it up and do one of these at the top. I don't know if a knot will do with this one, so I'm going to go around it. It might not. I haven't zoomed enough. I'm going to try to zoom just a little bit more. The trick is me staying in camera. All right, so just went around that one. Let's use one of these little words. Will that go through? Yes. And we'll just tie that about there. Okay, check our height. Good. And then maybe one more. I'll do one of the little charms on the bottom. Probably about an inch below that. About there. And double knot the bottom. Okay. Then we've got one more of those. And let's see, what do we got left? I think I'm going to put this one on the front of the main part of it. I'll show you what I mean in a minute. So I'm going to leave that one. Let's do a dragonfly. We haven't done a dragonfly. So probably a pony bead to start with of some sort. Let's just do a little one. Okay, little pony bead. That one holds well with just a knot below it. About there. And then we're going to do this little dragonfly. So about here. Try to fit a few more on here. Okay, dragonfly, and then how about the rose? Should I put the rose on? I do have room for a bigger hole in the rose. I think I'm going to put it on the white one. Let's do that, and we'll put another word here. I should put a bead on each side of that one, just to look cute. There's some more beads. Let me just squeeze that a little bit. If I can get a hold of it. They all went in the edge. There. All right, so let's just put one bead. I'm not going to tie it. And then, what did I say? The word. And then the word. And then one bead. There's like a little lip there. Alright, and then one bead. And then we'll just put a knot where I want that to stop. And it can kind of just move around. I'm okay with that. Let's see, how long? About here, maybe. So about there for a stopping point. One should be plenty because it's that pony bead. Should I finish it off with anything? I don't have any more tiny charms. I'll just do one of these beads. finish it off. That is not where that's supposed to go. I'm above my knot. Move it back down. Go below the knot. Below. Why are you trying to go on the knot? Quit. Where is it at? I lost the knot. Oh, where it is. Oh, there it is. I feel it. Right there. Okay. Tie that one twice. All right. And then we've still got these white strings. So for this one, got this butterfly. I'd probably do that with a wire. Open up. And put this one. Oh, I didn't need to pull that through. Wrong side. There. Doesn't want to let go. Let go. All right. I'm going to figure this out. I got to open it somehow. It really attached itself to that yarn. Okay, so there's our butterfly. Let's knot it in place. About yay. And then let's do this little rose. Let's see if I can get the wire through it. If I don't have to make the hole bigger, that's best. Well, it might work. If I can get the yarn through. That will be the catcher. Oops, stay on there. Don't fall. I'm just going to trim that. I don't have any tape on it or anything, so it keeps fraying. Alright, I'm just going to put it there a little bit. See if we can pull it through. Yep, there we go. Alright, get a little rose on there. Check our height. About there's good. This is going to be cute. Hopefully y'all like this. I like making these. They're fun. And something to close it off with. What shall I use? Maybe one of the brown beads. That might be challenging, but I'll try. Really needed to put tape on there. Okay. All right, check our height. About there. And I'm gonna double that one. There. Okay. Is there any where they're just plain? Did I use them all? There's one, there's two. Logically there should be, oh, I only used one of those, that's why. Okay, that's fine. Should I put this little charm on here? Maybe I will. Or maybe I should use that. No, I'm gonna have to add something for that, so I will do, yeah, I don't know. I think I might. I'm gonna put this on here. Just, I want to use it. I haven't glued these, so they'll come off pretty easy. This one's definitely, I think, gonna need a bigger hole, maybe. I don't know. We'll see. Let's see. Where'd it go? Did it? Yay. Alright, tie a knot. one knot, and then we'll double knot this little leaf. About here. I might put some glue on this because this is very, it's not a real tight tying string. You can always tell. Some strings, just when you knot them down, they're knotted down, and that's that. But some of them, they just don't really tighten up. So I'm just gonna put a little drop of glue just on my bottom one. Just a little bit in there will be plenty to hold it in place. Once that dries, it won't be moving around on you. Do the same thing on the leaf. Just enough to keep it in place. All right, so let's see if we can put this bee on the top here. So I want it right here. So I'm going to put that like that. Let's see, how is this going to hang? I think it's going to hang that way. So we'll put it on this side. And I'm just going to do it with another piece of that wax thread. I could sew it in there, but I think this will be fine. So I'll just cut a piece of this. And I'm going to go through, how am I going to do this? I think I want to go through these two little feet, like this, like that, and then come all the way around. I'll just do that a couple of times, so I'll just feed that if I can find the right thread. Just feed that back through there again. That should be enough to hold it in place. So I've got it through there twice. And then we're going to come around to the other side. I keep getting the other stuff in my way. Yeah, where is it? Lost it again. There it is. All right. Sorry, I'm trying to stay in camera and tie my knot. All right. Let's see if we can do this. Nice and tight. What's that look like? Yeah, that'll work. Good. All right. And then I could either leave the strings or cut them. I'm going to do it one more tight knot just for good measure, and I think I'm just going to leave them hang. They're really not going to be in the way. All right, so let's see what we got. I need to back it up a little bit so I can manipulate. All right, so now we have our little bee as the main little feature there, and then we've just got random goodies through here. You know, little things on there. And they'll just all dingle together. And they'll tangle up and stuff, but it's not a big deal. It's fun to go find what's in there. Okay? So once I get that all figured out, then, you know, I'm going to cut those. This one's just, it's got a mind of its own, so I'm just going to cut it. Just make sure you're in the right spot. Where'd my scissors go? Okay, there. We don't need all that, so I will just trim it there. Okay. So now, put my lid on my glue. It's probably dried up. Maybe not. Okay. Lid on my Fabri-Tac, which has been a while. Okay. And grab the journal. to it. Close her up. And there we go. Okay. So that's how that's going to look. You'll have all the little charms. Like I said, they'll tangle up and stuff, but you know, it's part of it. But I think it's cute. A lot of cute little things, and they blend in nicely with the colors of this particular journal. So now I just want to trim it. So I just want to see where that hits. And give it a little tug, make sure everything is pulled tight. And just kind of grab it. We're just going to grab it out here. Make sure nothing's in there. And there's my big scissors. And I'm just going to trim it off. You can save these. Sometimes they come in handy for things. Doing little, what do you call them? Clusters. That's the word I was looking for. Clusters. You can make little clusters. So now our dangle hits right where it should. And it looks cute. What do y'all think? Like a little charm? A little tassel? It's cute. I'm glad I foundry waxed these. I was just going to use them silver and be like, oh well, it's no big deal. But I was like, you know what? I've got that foundry wax. I think I will use it. Because I hadn't tried it. I'm glad I got it. All right, looks good. So there's our tassel. I'll leave that like this. It kind of shows. A little messily. A couple out here. There. It's a lot on it. All right, that is our live. It was a quick one. Like I said, I'll sew in the signatures on Friday, and we will be done with this and on to our next project, which I have no clue what that is. I really don't. Oh, and I'm just going to share something with y'all. So, you know how I'm always complaining my hands crack like crazy because I just have dry skin like crazy, but I'm allergic to everything. I'm allergic to all kinds of creams and stuff. And the other day I was watching somebody and they were using a hand salve, and I was like, you know what, let me look into that and see what kind of hand salves are. And I happened to find this one. It is called Desert Oasis. It is lavender jojoba hand salve, and it has, I'm trying to read it through the camera. I can't read it through the camera. Okay. It has jojoba. It has avocado, beeswax, lavender, and lavender and lavender oil, I guess. So it's got very simple, basic ingredients. Nothing I'm allergic to, which is the main thing. So I'm allergic to parabens and mineral oil and so many things are in all the creams. So, and it's, it goes on, it's nice and soft. It smells amazing. If you like lavender. If you don't like lavender, you won't like it. But they do have other scents, but I chose lavender. But anyway, I figured I'd share with you. It's very nice. It's been keeping my skin much better, so I actually like it a lot. It was like, I got it off of Amazon. It was like $6-7. Cheap. Not a lot of money. So anyway, I'm not like affiliated or anything like that, but it's just me sharing because I liked it and I thought maybe somebody else might have the same issue. Okay, and then you smell like lavender, and it does smell good. So, anyway, that is our project. I will see you guys on Friday. Y'all have a wonderful rest of your evening, and I will talk with y'all later. All right, bye-bye.